According to a recent survey, about half of workers in Manhattan are back in the office on an average weekday. That's up from just 38% last April, but only 9% of workers are in the office full time. Joining us right now is Partnership for New York City President and CEO Kathryn Wylde. Kathryn, it's great to see you this morning. We've been talking about this debate, mostly for white-collar workers in the city, and what it means to the city to get back on its feet, not just folks in the office, but all of the ancillary and adjacent businesses, whether it be restaurants, dry cleaners, or this or that. Where do you think we really are, and how much of an upswing are we really on? I know it feels better, but I don't know if it feels good enough.
Well, we're certainly moving in the right direction, Andrew, and we're seeing that employers are still encouraging their people, carrots, not sticks, to come back to the office. And we're going to be over half the employees back in the office on the average weekday by the end of the year. So we're headed the right direction. Old habits are hard to break. For 2.5 years, folks have been working from home, working remotely, and it's tough. We've had 4 false starts on reopening the city and getting people back to the office starting in June of 2020.
Kathryn, if we're only at 50%, if that's the number, do you think that we have to revise down our sense of what the future of the city looks like? And do you think companies are going to have to rethink what their real estate footprint actually is? I mean, I think there's been this sense that, we're going to get there, we're going to get there, we're going to get there. But then there's this other view that maybe we're never going to get there.
Well, we've asked companies, one of the questions we asked in the survey is, do you think your real estate footprint is going to shrink and your headcount is going to shrink? And only 10% said they thought they were going to shrink. Most are still uncertain, but the majority are going to feel that they'll be either equal or more in terms of both headcount and real estate. So employers are not seeing this necessarily as a permanent condition, and they're not seeing it as a serious problem. And I think the same is true for the city, that the city is going to reinvent itself, as we always do, out of a crisis in particular. So that's going to happen. Things are going to be a little different. We know that we're going to have less retail activity because e-commerce has so escalated during the pandemic. So we're going to have change, but New Yorkers are great at change.
How much of this do you think is a function of what people view as a policing problem, a security problem in the city?
At this point, it's really inertia more than anything else, Andrew. About 24% of the respondents said that they thought the problem was fear of public safety, especially on the subways. But that's way down from what it was when we surveyed last year. So we're seeing it go in the direction of people are just saying, we're just as productive at home as home. Or our friends don't have to go into the office, so why should we? So what we're seeing is just sort of a resistance to change.
But what about what I'm seeing as additional cost in the office place to get people to work? You know, Julie Sweet of Accenture often talks about this phrase, you have to earn the employee's commute these days. And you're seeing a lot of companies that are almost running, like a disco party in the lobby of some of these banks and other places where you go in and there's like a DJ and they're playing music and they've got food and
ping pong, whatever.
All of it.
Yes.
But all of that is an additional cost. It comes at an additional cost. Is that just, do you think, a way to get people in the door and back? Or do you think this is a new sort of permanent reality?
I think overall, employers are saying that they recognize going forward, office culture and stickiness of the office is going to depend on purposeful activity. A CEO said to me the other day, if somebody's going to spend their entire day on Zoom calls, they might as well be at home. If we're going to have real interaction in the office, team meetings, social activities, free food, they ought to be in the office. So I think that change is adjusting. People, New York employees are ambitious. Typically, people come to New York because they really want to get ahead. And getting ahead in life depends on relationships. So I'm confident that people are going to be back, that office culture is going to continue to be important. There's going to be more flexibility in the schedule. And again, employers are going to try and be more purposeful about what's happening in the office.